Now, this week we heard the incredible story of how young nurse Aoife McGivney saved the life of a Dublin bus driver and possibly his passengers who had collapsed at the wheel after using emergency CPR.
Which is why we have invited Rosemary Hayden from the Irish Red Cross in to show us how to react in a similar situation. Good morning, Rosemary. Thank you for joining us today. I suppose Aoife's story during the week made us all reflect on what we would do in a similar situation. Obviously, CPR training is required. Aoife was a nurse, but we can all access this training, can't we?
Absolutely, we can all access this training. I mean, there's a number of organisations, obviously Red Cross, which I'm a part of, is one of them. But there are also loads of organisations that do cardiac first responder training. It's only a 3-hour course. It teaches you CPR and the use of the AED, which is the automated external defibrillator. Some people know it as the defib. And it really is a skill that everyone can do and that is never wasted.
Okay. Incredible to think that even if you are trained, Aoife was a nurse, but regardless of how much training you have in a situation like that,
the amount of stress,
it's easy to panic.
Absolutely. When we train, we're training on a mannequin. It's all nice and simple. You know, you've no clothes to be worrying about. You've no nothing else to be worrying about. But in a kind of a scene safety issue of, moving bus, like it's a film almost.
Yes.
For having to deal with all of those external things. Those are the things that are difficult. The skills we're going to show you genuinely are not terribly technically difficult. Literally anyone can do this. We've taught children, we've taught people, from all walks of life, and anyone can do these things. So worry not about those. We can totally do that.
So is the secret then getting into a CPR course, understanding what happens, and then keeping up the training every 6 months or so?
Absolutely.
So it becomes automatic almost if you find yourself in that.
Absolutely. The regular course is only 3 hours. You can do it every 2 years, but then we recommend that people just get, even a few minutes of practice every 6 months so that it's kind of fresh in their mind, and then they have the confidence to know, yeah, you know what, I could do something if something happened. Absolutely. You only have 10 minutes before you're entirely out of time in all but, a few, weird scenarios. And your person's chance of survival drops by 10% every single minute that goes between their heart stopping and you starting CPR. You're basically the only thing.
It's all about your fast reaction.
Absolutely. And it's all about, if you do nothing, they are not going to survive. If you do something, they have a chance of survival. You are literally their only chance. You can't make things any worse, and you could be the difference between literally life and death.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, isn't it? You can't make things worse.
Can't make
There's comfort in that.
Oh, what if I break the ribs? If they live with broken ribs, I think they'd thank you every day of their life.
Yes.
So
you're going to give us a demo now, so we'll get down our hunkers 100%. And you'll show us the first couple of points we need to look out for, I suppose.
Yeah, so the first thing you're going to look out for, and in the nurse's scenario, big thing was that scene safety is hugely important. The area has to be safe and everything has to be safe. So you have to check, are there any wires? Has the person been electrocuted? Is it safe for you to enter the system? Because if you don't have the scene safe, then what you're going to create then is a scenario where you have 2 casualties and possibly no rescuer. So you need to make sure, is it safe for me to come in here? And we're going to say that it is safe for me to come in here.
Okay.
At that point, I need to check what's going on with my patient, because maybe he fainted. Maybe he's just having a nap, And in which case, we're not going to be doing CPR. So we need to check what's going on. So to do that, I'm going to do shake and shout. Now, shake and shout, we really shout. We get down by his ear and we give a good kind of yell into his ear. Hello, can you hear me? Open your eyes. And in shaking, we're shaking down onto the shoulders. We're not lifting him up and banging his head. We're not shaking him from side to side just in case there's any sort of spinal issue. But we need to give him a good shake just in case he might be not terribly bothered about answering you. So he's definitely going to answer me, or at least with a direct order, he'll open his eyes. Okay? So there's been no response. At that point, I'm going to shout out, help, help, somebody help me. Okay? Because if you don't ask for help, no help will come. So you then need to eyeball one individual person. I'm going to say, Laura, you're going to go and call 999 or 112, ask for an ambulance, say we have an unconscious person here at Virgin Media. I also need you to go and get an AED if there's one on the premises. And then you say that you're going to go get that, because if I just said randomly, someone go and do that, everyone will think,
such a good point,
I know somebody else is going to do that, so I won't
delegate
bother.
very clearly.
One person, and make them come back and tell you it's on its way. Okay? So I've done that. I'm now going to check if the person is breathing. So hand on the forehead, 2 fingers under the chin, and I'm going to lift, and head tilt, chin lift it's called, and I'm going to get my ear right on top of the mouth and nose, and I'm look, listening and feeling. I'm looking along the chest. There's no point looking out that direction, so I'm looking down along here. I'm listening and feeling for breath on my cheek, and I'm not feeling anything. And I'm going to count it out for 10 seconds, and I'm going to do that in 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000. Looking around the face, I'm looking for things like coughing, colour, movement and breathing. Those are called signs of life. Now, you might see on the telly and different things people checking the pulse and whatnot. We don't teach that to members of the public because at the best of times people won't find their own pulse. So in a scenario like this, they'll panic when they're not sure. is it there and I can't find it? But if you do a 10-second check for the breath, even if they were, you know, they stopped breathing and then the heart stopped, they are not going to have a heartbeat. They're not going to be breathing without a heartbeat, okay? So, you know, there could be a few seconds where it's the other way around, but basically you're using they're not breathing as they have no heartbeat, okay? So I've done that. I've called out for help. I'm now going to expose the chest, and for anyone who maybe did a course maybe some years ago, they'd think, hang on a second, why isn't she going straight into the breaths? Well, things have changed with the American Heart Association. They recommend the most important thing is literally staying alive. So think the Bee Gees, think, you know, staying alive, that kind of beat, and getting that compression system going. So you're getting the chest clear, nothing between you and the chest, and you're going to get the heel of your hand and the other hand, one on top of the other, and you lock your elbows. Don't keep your elbows kind of lax like this. You're going to lock the elbows, lean right in on top, between the nipples, on the breastbone, hand on top of hand, pull the fingers up towards you, and you lean right in on top of it. So kind of spread your knees apart so you can kind of lean on that. And we're going to go to 30 at the beat of staying alive. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 and 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Now, I count out loud, and I'm counting faster than when I was doing the breath. So I'm going to get 30 compressions in about 17 seconds, which is why the beat is quite important, okay? When I do that, I'm then going to go back up to the head, and how I do that is I make sure that my knees are kind of spread kind of fairly wide apart so that I can go from one to the other. And I go to the head tilt, chin lift. This time I close the nose. I'm going to put my mouth around the mouth and go blow, and turn my head and blow. I then go straight down to the chest and I continue. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to continue doing 30 compressions and 2 breaths until one of a number of things happens. So we'll say that's 30. I go back to my breaths.
So 30 compressions, 2 breaths,
2 breaths, and I continue doing that constantly until one of a few things happen. Let's just say that Anna comes along and she says, I know CPR, I can take over from you. She would then come in and she could take over, or it could be the emergency services, or it could be the AD has arrived, or any number of those things. So I continue on and on and on and on. I never stop. Even when I see the ambulance coming in the distance, I keep going until they literally push me out of the way and say, we got it from here. We need no interruption in the CPR.
Can I ask you, Rosemary, how do you know exactly the right point on the chest?
So the right point in the chest is literally directly between the nipples on the sternum, which is a sturdy bone down the middle of the chest. And if you're on that bone and you're not moving, you're not going to be breaking the ribs, okay? You needn't worry about that then. That's a really, really strong bone, and it's got a bit of bounce in it.
One last question, Rosemary. When you're looking down and you see maybe a bit of movement and you realise they're unconscious, you don't perform CPR.
Absolutely, 100%. CPR is only performed on people who are what's called clinically dead. Okay, so you might think to yourself, oh my God, they're dead already. You know, well, it's basically, that means that they have cardiac arrest. That means that there is no heartbeat. They are not, you know, they've no heartbeat. They are not breathing. They will be dead if you do not do something, but you can bring them back from that.
Okay, Rosemary, thank you so much. I know it was only a little snippet of all that's involved, but certainly worthwhile doing. And there are plenty of courses around the country as well.
Absolutely. Redcross.ie for all the courses.
I think it's a reminder for all of us to do one of those courses, isn't
100%.
it?
Genuine.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much,
Rosemary. I hope I have someone like you if I ever find myself in an emergency.
You need someone like you. Do the training.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Thanks.